Before I share my story, let me ask you something. What if you gave someone your heart and they laughed in your face? My name is Margaret Lane. I'm 67 years old, a retired schoolteacher, a widow of 17 years, and a grandmother to a girl I raised like my own child. I live in Asheville, North Carolina, in a modest little house at the end of a quiet street where the only things that change are the seasons and the price of milk. My days are simple. I paint in the mornings when the light is soft, I water my garden in the evenings, and I talk to my dog Molly like she's the last person on earth who understands me. But the quiet didn't always feel this lonely. My granddaughter Chloe was dropped into my world like a miracle I never asked for but clung to with both hands. Her mother, my daughter Rachel, had Chloe young, too young, and life hit her like a wave she was never taught to swim through. 2 jobs, no partner, always exhausted. So from the time Chloe was a toddler, she was mine in all the ways that mattered. She called me Nana before she ever said Mama. She held my hand to cross the street, crawled into my bed during thunderstorms, and painted beside me in the kitchen with more color on her face than on the paper. I loved her fiercely, still do. For 12 years, I did something she never knew. Every month I tucked away what I could, a few dollars from my Social Security check. Birthday money I never spent. Coupons clipped with shaking hands. I even skipped prescriptions a few times, telling myself the side effects weren't that bad. All for one dream, Chloe's future. She wanted to attend an art school in California. Cal Arts, big, prestigious, creative, expensive. She hadn't talked about painting in years, but I remembered how her face lit up when she was younger. How she once said, "I want to make things people feel." So I saved, quietly, faithfully. For her 18th birthday, I wanted to give her something more than just a check. I wanted to remind her who she was, who we were, so I painted her a gift. It took weeks. Every brush stroke was a memory. The old swing in our backyard, the golden retriever we had named Buster, the daffodils that bloomed each April, a soft watercolor sky above it all. I tied it with a satin ribbon and tucked a card inside that read, "May your future be as bright as the little girl you used to be." I pictured her opening it, her face breaking into that little kid smile I missed so much. I pictured her hugging me tight and whispering, "Thank you, Nana," like she used to after bedtime stories. Instead, she opened it at her birthday party, a rented tent, white tablecloths, speakers thumping with music I didn't recognize, designer bags piled high on a gift table. When she got to mine, the room went quiet. "Oh," she said, smiling politely, "this one's from Nana." She ripped the paper, pulled out the painting, and blinked. "That's it?" Laughter rippled around her. "Vintage vibes, I guess," someone said. She leaned the canvas against the table leg like a decoration that didn't match the theme. No one looked at me. No one saw me leave. I walked to my car and sat in silence, hands trembling, a weight on my chest heavier than I could carry. I had given her my heart. She called it cheap. I'm not sharing this for pity. I share it because I know someone out there has felt this too. If this speaks to your heart, please subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with someone who needs to be reminded. Your love was never cheap. After the party, I didn't cry. I didn't rage or throw anything or bury my face into a pillow. I just sat, still. The house was quiet, as it always was, but this time it felt different, like even the walls didn't know what to say to me. I put my purse down on the counter, left my shoes by the door like I had every day for years, and sat at the kitchen table where I used to braid Chloe's hair before school. I stared at nothing, yet saw everything. 12 years. That's how long I saved. 12 years of coupons instead of fresh fruit, of canceling cable and relying on the public library for movies and books, of wearing the same winter coat with the torn lining because I told myself it still worked fine. I remembered the time I skipped filling a prescription just to make my monthly deposit into the savings account. I told myself I was being smart, being strong, that it would be worth it, she would be worth it. But now, the only sound in the room was the quiet hiss of my radiator and the soft echo of her laugh when she held up my painting and said, "That's it?" I stood up and walked slowly to the hallway drawer, the one I never opened in front of anyone. Inside, a thick folder labeled Chloe's College Fund. I carried it like it was glass, placed it gently on the table, and opened it. Every deposit, every receipt, every scribbled note to myself reminding me to transfer $5, $10, sometimes $20 if the electric bill was kind that month. I turned on my ancient desktop computer and logged into the account. My password was still the same, Buster 2008, named after the dog she loved when she was little. The screen blinked. The number appeared. It wasn't millions, but it was everything I had. I hovered over the transfer button, my fingers trembling, my chest tight, and then I clicked. I transferred every single cent, not to Chloe, not to CalArts, but to me, my checking account, my name. The progress bar moved slowly, like it wanted me to change my mind, but I didn't. I closed the folder, closed the drawer, shut down the computer. Then I stood up, made a cup of tea, not the quick kind with cold water and an old mug, but a real one. In the floral teacup Chloe gave me when she was 6, with honey, for me. For the first time in my life, I wasn't sacrificing. I was choosing. A few days later, there was a knock at the door. I opened it to see Chloe, smiling wide, holding a box from that expensive bakery downtown, the one I always admired but never stepped foot in. "Nana," she chirped, throwing her arms around me. "I missed you." Her hair was pulled back, her makeup lighter than usual. She looked softer, like the girl I remembered. She came inside like she used to, placed the cookies on the table, and started talking before I could even sit down. I wanted to say I'm sorry about the party. I was overwhelmed, and I didn't mean to be ungrateful. She folded her hands in front of her. Her nails were perfect. Her voice almost cracked. "I know the college fund is complicated now, but I'm not here for that. I just want us back." Something inside me loosened. We sat and had tea. She told me about her classes, her dreams. She asked to see my new paintings. She even picked up a brush one afternoon and said, "Remember when I used to paint Max with purple ears?" And I laughed. God help me, I laughed. She started visiting more, helping with dishes, telling me about boys and books and how she sometimes missed the old house with the swing in the yard. I started to believe her. I wanted to believe her. One evening, I pulled out the folder again. I didn't transfer anything, but I thought about it. My hand hovered over the mouse. I wanted so badly to trust her. But something whispered, "Wait," and I did. A week later, Chloe came by to print out a scholarship form. Her laptop was acting up, she said. She left after lunch in a rush to meet friends. I walked into the study, saw her laptop still glowing. I was about to shut it down when a message popped up. It was a chat, a messaging app I didn't recognize. From someone named Emmy, the words appeared like a slap. "She's falling for it." Got emotional, said I missed her. Classic Nana stuff. "Just a few more visits." I blinked. Another message arrived instantly. "I told you, she always melts with that family crap. Manifesting CalArts Fall 2025. My breath caught in my throat. My hand clenched the edge of the desk. It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a moment of bad judgment. It was a plan. Everything, the cookies, the painting talk, the hugs, had been a performance. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I simply closed the laptop, like I was closing a casket. And in some ways, I was. I didn't tell Chloe. I didn't call her out, demand an explanation, or ask why she'd used my love like bait. I didn't have it in me to perform outrage for someone who had already rehearsed their betrayal. I simply stood up, walked into the room where I used to paint, and pulled the cloth off the canvas she had mocked. There it was. The swing, Buster the dog, daffodils glowing under a watercolor sky, every memory I had once wrapped in brushstrokes, now tinged with bitterness. She called it cheap, but I knew what it cost. Not in dollars, in late nights, in quiet sacrifices. In the kind of love that never asked to be noticed but always showed up anyway. I looked at that painting for a long time. Then, with fingers trembling not from age but from something sharper, resolve, I picked up my old digital camera. I took a photo of the piece and logged into a small online community I joined years ago but rarely posted in. It was a space for older women artists to share their work, their struggles, their hearts. I uploaded the image and typed a caption. This was called Cheap by someone I love, but it was painted with every piece of my heart. Then I clicked post and closed the laptop, not Chloe's this time, but mine. By morning, everything had changed. Hundreds of comments flooded in. Some were short, just 3 words. This made me cry. "I've been her. You are seen." Others poured out stories of daughters who stopped calling, grandchildren who forgot birthdays, husbands who dismissed their art, their effort, their worth. Each comment felt like a hand on my shoulder saying, "You're not alone." The post was shared again and again. By that evening, I had a message from a curator at a small gallery in Portland. Her name was Dana. She said my piece stopped her cold. She asked if I would be willing to exhibit it. And then came the email from a private collector in Seattle. He had seen the painting through one of the viral posts. "This piece moved me deeply. I'd like to buy it for $18,000 if it's for sale." $18,000 for a painting my own granddaughter had laughed at. I stared at the message, my hands covering my mouth, my heart pounding. Then I looked back at the painting, still leaning against the wall, still glowing quietly in the afternoon light. I wrote back, "Yes, it is for sale, but only under one condition. Its title must remain, The Rejected Gift." When the paperwork came, I signed it with a steady hand, not out of vengeance, not to prove a point, but because it was time for my love to be seen, not dismissed. Not long after, Chloe stopped by again. She was cheery, full of warmth, asking questions about how I'd been. I offered tea. We talked about safe things, weather, flowers, old movies. I never mentioned the messages I saw. I never confronted her, but I didn't open the college fund folder again either. Then Rachel called. Her voice was clipped, tight. "She told me you're refusing to help with school, that you pulled the money. Margaret, she's devastated. You're sabotaging her future over a mistake, one bad joke at a party." I let her talk. When she finished, I walked to the kitchen counter, picked up the thick folder with Chloe's name on it, and held it in my hand. "This," I said, "is 12 years of my life. Every dollar came from something I gave up. New clothes, heat in the winter, prescriptions, my own peace of mind." There was silence. I kept my voice calm. "I've already paid for her future. I've done my part. Now, I'm investing in mine." I hung up before she could argue. The following week, I withdrew some of the painting proceeds and hired a local contractor to convert the shed behind my house into a real art studio. I painted every day big, bold pieces that took up space and refused to whisper. They spoke in color, in texture, in truth. Soon, other galleries reached out. An exhibit in Santa Fe. A feature in an online magazine for emerging senior artists. A college professor even asked if she could use my story in a lecture about generational sacrifice and the intersection of art and emotional labor. I said yes to all of it. Months later, I flew to Chicago for a group show. The gallery was bright, buzzing with voices and camera shutters. When I walked in, I saw it immediately, my painting, The Rejected Gift. It hung on a clean white wall, framed in soft wood, lit gently from above. People gathered in front of it, pausing, staring, some reaching up to wipe their eyes. It was no longer a joke propped beside a pile of designer bags. It was center stage, just like me. A few months passed in quiet, purposeful color. One morning, I found an envelope in my mailbox, handwritten, the loops in the letters familiar. It was from Chloe. I sat down at the kitchen table, sunlight warm against my arms, and opened it. "Nana, I was selfish. I see that now. I'm not asking for anything. I just hope one day you'll see me differently. I'm sorry. Love, Chloe." I read it twice. Not searching for more, just letting it settle. But I didn't feel pain. I didn't feel rage. I just felt done. I folded the letter and walked over to the drawer where I used to keep the college fund folder. The old label was gone. In its place, a new one I had written in bold black ink. Freedom Fund, ML. I slid the letter inside, closed the drawer, and turned toward the light. That spring, I joined an art tour across Europe, something I'd always dreamed of, but never believed I deserved. In Lisbon, I met Edward, a widower, kind eyes. He painted coastal scenes and liked black coffee. We talked about paint and grief and the funny way time softens what once felt unlivable. There was no pressure, no promises, just presence. Back home in Asheville, I returned to my studio and began the final piece in the series, my story in full circle. A woman on a cliff, arms stretched wide, wind lifting her hair, face turned toward an endless horizon. I named it, Becoming. Sometimes you have to be dismissed to find your worth. And sometimes the most powerful voice is the one you use for yourself. I hope you remember, your love is never wasted, even if it's unrecognized. You matter. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your own story below. We see you, we hear you. You are not invisible anymore.